whole time, the whole thing was shadowing us, right behind us, right on the side of us. You could kind of see the thing moving through the woods.
All I can remember is flipping the light on, and I see this creature, and I knew in my heart, I knew in my mind, and the whole nine yards, this isn't a man.
And then this thing walks across the road, takes a turn towards us, and then leaps over a guardrail.
Went to look forward, and there was a thing, is all I can call it.
Welcome to Squatch-D TV, exploring the Bigfoot mystery each week with your hosts, veteran researcher, author, and TV personality, the Squatch detective, Steve Kulls, and from the Bigfoot Research Project of Kentucky, Chris Bennett. Sit back and buckle up as we bring you guests from around North America discussing the Bigfoot phenomena, but not without a few laughs too. Here are your hosts, Steve and Chris.
And good evening, cyberspace. Welcome to Squatch-D TV for today's date, August 16th, 2020. I'm your host, your guy, the Squatch detective, Steve Kulls, along with, right down there, my co-host, Mr. Chris. I work my ass off every day, Bennett.
How you doing, Steve?
I am wonderful, Chris. And for those who don't know, we got Ryan Cavalline way down. Chris,
Ryan, there's Ryan. There, Ryan.
We got one hell of a show on for you tonight. Let's do the roll call, Chris, because we've been out for a month.
Oh, yeah.
1 week because of technical glitch. Another week because we were just beat. Another week because last week I took sick. Just before the show when we were all ready to go, and all of a sudden I just really wasn't feeling good. So let's say hi to the folks. We got John Swan. Good evening, hey, John. Dave, good to see you back.
Dave.
B, what's up, B?
Hi, B.
Am and Chris, what's going on?
Come on. Mm-hmm.
Aaron is back. Hello,
Aaron.
Thank you, sir. And who else we got coming on here? We got Charlie Wonton.
Hey, Charlie.
I know what that guy is. Ryan, you know Charlie. Hey, Pat. Yes, Pat, you're on the right stream.
Yeah.
I'm here to talk about woo.
Talk about woo. I don't know if it's the right stream or not. Maybe.
Terry, good to see you, Terry. Hello. Hey, Tack. I hope you're feeling better, my brother.
Tack.
So, Jimmy Trick. Well, interesting how we always see Charlie Wonton on one screen and
I know.
Trick on the
it's
other.
like
I don't know.
Superman and Clark Kent, you know?
Yeah, kind of like Diana, Diana Summers and Wonder Woman. I don't know. Carrie, welcome, Carrie. Joe, how's it going?
Joe.
Diane, good to see you.
Hey, Diane.
Buck. Wow. Here's trouble. Dave Rupert in the house.
Buck. Hey, Dave.
Well, Ryder's in. So we got quite the crew coming in, and we just started.
Golly, welcome, folks. Good to see y'all.
So, I'm up. Amy just popped in. Hello, Amy.
Hi, Amy.
So anyway, it was also a very tough month last month. And Ryan, you can feel it. It was what a crappy month it was last month. We lost. Who'd we lose? We lost a Pennsylvania researcher, young lady due to cancer. And that affected a lot of my friends. But somebody I personally knew, and Ryan knew as well, was Dave Dragosin. And
Dave.
But the movie we're going to talk about tonight, not only was it, John Tomical's last film as well, and only film that I think about. But this would have made John's day, I think, getting on a film like this. But yeah, the loss this year has been. But Dave came as a complete shock.
Yeah,
and really, it was tough. So. But
they said don't be in my films anymore. It seems like people pass away.
Geez. Wait a minute, I was in your films.
Yeah.
Oh no, Steve.
Now
okay.
I got to stare at the cutout now. It's going to come at me. But yes. And Tommy. Where is that? Hang on a second. And another, you see, not only was it, we lost Danielle Auclair from Pennsylvania. She was a big, popular Pennsylvania researcher. I don't know if you knew her, Ryan.
I've never met her, no.
And we also lost another good friend of mine, Tom Doherty, who is a NESRA researcher. He lost, first I get Dave's death, and then 5 days later, I get Tom's death. And I've been out in the field a few times with both of them. And Tom, I've known for, I want to say 6-7 years, being on the NESRA team. So again, way too young, way too young. So it was
a tough year.
Yeah,
it's been very tough.
Been horrible. And let's not forget, we also lost Wilfred Brimley.
Yeah, man.
You say potato? I say diabetes. But, so.
Oh, he was a good man. He made some good movies,
He did. Well, one of the ones he was a scoundrel in was The Firm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. Yeah, he wasn't exactly a very nice character in that one, but he did some more. That what was it? The Cocoon. That was a really good one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Quaker Oats. Oop, hang on, I'm trying to. Quaker Oats. And but on the positive side, Ford is coming out with the new Ford Bronco.
All right.
Yes, the new Ford Broncos.
You can order one. You might get one late next year.
That's right. Reaction to it lately has been great. Obviously.
He's got one already picked out, right?
OJ is asking, do they come in white?
That's right.
Bloodstained.
and just so that everybody knows, they come standard with AC.
Good.
All right, that was a pretty good joke. Off the top of the head too.
I wonder if the steering wheel is going to have hand warmers. That way you don't have to have gloves.
and it comes standard with a sock dryer too.
Oh man.
People would buy that if they came out with the O.J. Simpson line. Special edition.
Will AC deliver it?
And what was the they had a special, was it the Eddie Bauer Bronco or something like that? They should come out with a special edition Bronco, the O.J. Simpson Bronco, O.J. Simpson special edition.
It's got its own compartment for a wig, a bag with $50,000 and a handgun.
Yeah.
It's a little fits it all perfectly in there, and it also comes with a pen and a tablet so you can write out your confession.
Yeah. And we were talking about this the other day, Steve. I mean,
John Bush says the top speed on the white one is 35 miles per hour.
Yeah, John. Yeah, that's the thing. Everybody, you can remember, and if you think about it, where were you when the O.J. Simpson Bronco chase was going on? Can you remember? And I can think back, and I know exactly where I was at when it was happening because we were all listening to it on the radio, laughing our butts off.
Well, I heard when they deliver it actually gets a police escort. Unfortunately, they're all behind it, not in front of it. Sorry, Chris.
Stop. You're killing me.
Oh, goodness gracious. Well, like I said, we can always have some fun on this show. And I saw that it was a perfect opportunity. Just a quick programming note. In 2 weeks on August 30th, we're going to have Dr. Haskell V. Hart on. Of course, Dr. Haskell is the one who wrote the Sasquatch Genome Project, a failed DNA study with a foreword by Dr. Jeff Meldrum. So he'll be on August 30th. We've confirmed him. So still waiting on confirmation of next week's guest, but we've got a lot of things rolling. So that's going to be awesome. So anyway, let's talk about this film, Mountain Devil 2, The Search for Jan Klement. And of course, people know that this is a very near and dear topic to me. And it is out on Amazon Prime if you want to rent it. I recommend go out and just buy one. And
Me too.
Great DVD, professionally done. I mean, you can't ask for anything more. Great little. Now, I happen to preview that film, and it's got a lot of great people in it. And one schmuck that's on a Skype interview, but
anyone in particular, Steve?
Well, there's only one schmuck on it, and that's the guy on the Skype.
That's why I was fixing to ask you, Steve. Is there anybody that you would exclude in that description?
Myself. I'll excuse myself. I'm a humble man, and I have to say, it was great to hear. It brought a tear to my eye seeing Dave Draxon on it.
Yeah.
You see that, and it's like, oh.
I was so saddened that it was so close to being released, and he was so looking forward to seeing it. And I had sent out a message to a few of them saying, hey, I'll see you at a conference, Fred Saluga's, just a couple of weeks ago. And I said, I'll get you your copies then so I can save on postage because I'm cheap like that. And usually Dave's the first one to ever get back to me on Messenger, and he didn't. Then the next day I found out he passed away, which is, it was heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Well, the nice thing, though, is that in the documentary, Dave has been immortalized. Because every time somebody puts in the DVD, there he is,
Yeah.
And I was thinking about stuff like that the other day. For some reason, I was sitting around watching an episode of The Three Stooges, which, I love The Stooges. And it hit me, everybody that they were showing, they had shown a crowd of people. Everybody they're showing in this is dead. But there they are,
Yeah. Well, the older you get, unfortunately, the more inevitable.
That's right.
That there's going to be people around you that are going to leave us, some sooner than they should. And Dave was one of them.
Yeah.
So
it just came from left field so quick. He wasn't,
it did. It
wasn't like, he was having health problems or something. It was just like poof out of the blue.
Now, John Tomical, that was kind of a shock, but he was 91.
What's really scary was I actually talked to him 3 days prior to him passing away because I'd keep up with him through emails. I'd send him the artwork, say, hey, here's what's going on. He was just so tickled about everything, and he was so energetic about the film, and he couldn't wait for it. And then it was about 3 days after an email I had from him. His daughter, April, had messaged me and said, hey, I just want you to know that Dad passed away. And I believe he was having some heart problems. and he was 91 when we filmed, so he had just turned 92. And I said it was just a couple of months before the film would have been done. It was heartbreaking that he didn't get to see it. But I mean, April, his family just got to see it, and they were so joyful and happy. He's like dedicating the film to him, and they said Dad would have been very happy, and that was my main goal. You know, you don't want to let the family down who are related to the book.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, you know, if you left all the doors open, and I kind of like that. And that was kind of the neat thing about that film. You didn't take a stance on a side, and you kind of let the chips fall where they were.
Right.
And I thought that was kind of cool. And it's got a really interesting ending. And I'm going to not talk about the ending, but I just want to say to folks, the last 10 minutes of the film, I'm like, what? So not for those who are very into this story, the creature, the ending is just it really sends you for a little bit for a loop. So, which is cool. And I thought that was, when I saw that, I was like, Ryan, you did it.
Thank you.
I really,
that was so tough to pull off, thinking, how are you going to do this?
But you know, and like I say, maybe a year down the road, 6 months down the road, after the movie circulated a bit, I'd love to have you come back on and we can talk about the behind the true feelings and stuff that you can give away.
Yeah.
You know, after the movie's been out for a while, but right now it's just too soon to do that. So, you know,
I try to stay as close to the book, like that whole trying to get with any film we try to do is always like, you want to grab your audience and give that emotional twist or turn or make it worth your while. And I'm probably a poor documentary filmmaker because of that, because I try to find the emotion like a fictional movie would, other than just here's your facts, we're done with the movie. I'd rather have a little bit of a gut turner in there or some sort.
Well, you gotta have the draw. You gotta have something to keep people in their seat.
Mm-hmm.
And just so people know, Ray is a Palpatine. Damn it! I don't want to ruin the end of that movie too. But I ruined a movie tonight, so I don't have to ruin this one.
Well, I haven't
Save
watched
me 9 hours.
I haven't watched it yet, but I'm going to be in the same boat as Edward is over in the chat room. He says, I bought one and I rented it as well. Edward, I'm going to do the same thing, because after the show tonight, I'm going to rent it on Amazon, but I'm going to go ahead and order it because I want to go ahead and watch it before the DVD gets here.
But, you know, it's so funny because, you know, everybody in the film looks the same. They haven't changed in all these years. Like even Drag, man, you saw Drag. That's Drag I knew, from years ago. That's Dave Rupert. You know, the beard is the beard.
That's right.
Except that one time he did shave that. That was nobody recognized him.
You look like a young man.
Oh. I'm back to gray again too, Steve. My Just for Men wore off. I thought that was supposed to be permanent or something.
You don't need Just for Men. You need Just for Sasquatch.
Oh man!
For the graying Sasquatch. Anyway, so let's dip into this. So what decided you to make this film?
Well, I got to rewind time, and I'll make it a short story.
It's a 2-hour show. We got all the time in the world.
Well,
yeah, come on, lay it on us, man.
Well, here's the long version then. All right. Originally, when I did the first Mountain Devil movie, that was back in like 2009, 2010. We're about to start shooting it. And I had shot some of it, but didn't have a direction with it, because at the time I was just going around with a lot of the Bigfoot groups and just kind of filming what they were doing. It was kind of like a Bigfoot 101. Here's just what they do. They go out and blah, blah, blah. And at the time, I had the book The Creature, and I thought, this is the best story I've ever read. It's just great. It's just wonderful. Of course, I couldn't find who to talk to about it. So finally, I found the address online, the Allegheny Press. So I wrote them a letter. There was no phone number. And time went on, and they sent me a letter back and said, blah, blah, blah. And we could never connect with agreeing to do the book. So I kind of left it go at that point. And at the time, Dave Rupert and I had come across this case in Phillipsburg. So I said, let's just run with that. It's a great story as well. And that's what Mountain Devil 1 became. But that was 10 years ago. Fast forward to early last year. I was cleaning out some files, and the book fell out of out of one of the binders, and I'm like, this is such a great story. Why hasn't this been told? Why hasn't anyone looked into it? So I started my research again, found Steve's information about what you looked into, and I said, I'm going to crack this one more time. So I again wrote them a letter, and his daughter got back to me, and she's like, let me talk to Dad. At this point, Dad's 91. And then a couple of weeks went by, and I thought, well, we tried. It's not happening. Let's move on to something else. And then she finally got back to me and said, yeah, Dad would like to talk to you about it. So that kind of opened the doors, and I said, well, listen, this is how I want to do it. I'm not taking your book and making a complete motion picture about it. I'm making a documentary about who the writer was, but I want to take elements from the book. Is that okay? And after him hawing around, we finally agreed on everything, got the paperwork signed. I said, finally, we're going to get to do the book I wanted to do 10 years ago. And everyone was on board this time, and it felt really positive to do. And I thought, it's sad that this story has not been told yet, really. So that was the best opportunity to do a Bigfoot movie that I feel that needed to be done. And there's so many Bigfoot movies out there, and so many Bigfoot documentaries that have been beaten to death, and people going from town to town telling every Bigfoot story. But this is the only Bigfoot story I've read that has such heart in it, and such like a passionate drama to it, that it just wasn't the right timing 10 years ago. Fast forward now, it was the right timing, and I think John just thought it was time.
Yeah.
So that's my short version.
So I got to ask, because when I was doing my research for it, I was like, well, John's like 91, and I didn't know how to reach out to him exactly. And I was hemming and hawing. Then, I heard you were on it, so I kind of backed up on it a little bit. So, well, I'll let Ryan do his thing, and I'll just turn mine into a presentation I do. And we did a whole episode of Squatch-D TV special edition on it way back last year. I think it was September of last year. So for me, I got to ask, how intimidating was it to go see John Tomical?
I was nervous as hell, man. I was like nervous, but I kept talking to his daughter, and she's like, oh, he's all excited. He can't wait, and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, but I'm going to really screw this up, and he's going to hate it, and he's going to be mad at me. But after meeting him, it was like it was just like that that favorite uncle you always have, and you could sit there and bullshit with him for forever about stories, and especially Bigfoot. He just loved it. It was, and after that, we were just buddies, mostly by email, because he was old school. We emails, and so, but it was well worth it, and I'd do it again.
That is so weird to hear. Old school being email.
Old school emails. I know. I'm like, he didn't text. He didn't call. It was just, let's just email.
Good God. Remember the day you had to write letters?
I know.
Yeah.
But if you think about it, that was the only way I ever got him, was by writing a letter to him.
Yep.
Yeah. That was the first step. And he wrote back. And it's just too bad we couldn't have done it earlier. That's all.
Yeah. Well,
but like I said earlier with you, I mean, I enjoyed the film we did. I really do. It's a great film. Documentary, we probably lost a few steps here and there, but the research you did on it is mind blowing and much more detailed. And I think if people really want to look into it, they should see that episode you did about the book. That's very detective work, more than what we did.
Well, that happens, and it's funny because a good friend of mine and one of my lifelong friends, we were talking about TV. And, TV programming, how it's evolved in the last 5 or 10 years. And it's not evolving for the good. No. I mean, I watch your stuff in you say you think you struck out at being more towards a documentary or being fact finding. I think you brought out more fact than most TV shows do in 3 seasons or 4 seasons. Well,
it felt like we kept running and ending up with more questions than answers. We just kept,
but that's okay.
You
see, that's the problem with reality TV today, is they just want to keep stringing the questions along and leaning it towards, this is spooky. This really happened. And then, I turn on the TV and, one of the shows that, and every once in a while I'll see a show. That looks interesting. I'm going to watch that.
Mhm.
One of them was, Paranormal Caught on Tape. And
Great stuff.
every once in a while you see something good, but then all of a sudden, oh yes, we have this submission by this guy in Pennsylvania by the name of Jeff Patterson.
Mhm.
And then there's their panel of experts saying, oh, well, oh my God, where do they find these folks?
They're out there.
Well, you know what? I don't think, and truthfully, I think the way they spin that is that they tell their talent, we really don't want to knock this down. They're if anybody watches a TV series nowadays, at least on the Bigfoot side, and they are looking for truth, they're not going to find it.
Right.
Yeah, and what I want to know is where do they find these experts to comment on videos that we've already? I mean, if we didn't do it, somebody else busted it as a hoax, and we exposed it. And it's a hoax video that has been proven to be a hoax, and they have experts commenting on it like it was real. And
at least when Finding Bigfoot did the tree shaker video from Patterson, at least they turned around and said, well, we really don't think it's real. That's fine. I mean, at least
every time I watched an episode of that, there was evidence. I thought that's pretty good there, and they'd be like, nah, it's not one. But over here with this something that was just off the wall, they're like, that could have been one.
Yeah.
Because you have a producer standing there saying, well, say this, say that, say that. And it's.
Yeah. And then, they edit, the editors are snipping away and making things.
Yeah.
And I thought that was.
One thing I did like about the Finding Bigfoot stuff. Okay. When they would put stuff on there for entertainment value and stuff, at least Matt Moneymaker would go on the BFRO forums and say, well, hey, guys, this is a thermal of a horse that they put on there. And, we told them not, it was a horse, but they wanted for entertainment value, they kind of embellished it a little bit.
Well, the interest, and like I say, that show, Finding Bigfoot, came on before this turn. And understand what we've seen, and this is why, Ryan, I say you're wrong about thinking you failed at that portion of the program, because we see this turn that happens like in, I want to say 2015 with the mermaid thing, and then the megalodon thing, and then the Dateloff Pass thing, which has been the bane of some existence because they created that last picture, where they see this thing, and they created that picture for the show, and it's being passed off around the internet amongst researchers, or at least newbie researchers, saying it's real, and it's not. It was created for that TV series.
You're saying the mermaids were fake? What?
Yeah, what? There's no 25-foot shark?
And the one they did, Bigfoot Captured or something, Sasquatch Captured. Honest to God, I had family members calling me and saying, Chris, turn it on the Discovery or whatever channel. They've caught Bigfoot. And I'm like, no.
Pat Turner over in the chat just made a great comment. They were going to quit the show over that deer thermal.
The deer thermal, yeah.
They were PO the way that got portrayed.
Yeah.
So at least, but now, like I say, it depends on, okay, we did our season. We signed for one season. This is how it's going to change. And going forward, that's why it did a lot better than what we see, sometimes now.
What's really sad is they have a nice amount of production money that they can do something decent that is more truth driven than entertainment. I'm making documentaries for, pennies and nickels. That's whatever lunch money we have that week. That's what we're making the movie of.
Yeah.
And, we're doing our best to try to, find something truth out, not make it there is entertainment, but we're still trying to find something truthful.
Well, intermeshing the book, which I thought was wonderful, was taking some of the major points of the book and you were splitting it up, which I thought was ingenious. Because I saw, it was kind of funny. I'm watching this whole thing, and I in the back of my mind, I knew what I had said on my interview. And then I see the first, few minutes of it. I go, well, okay, pretty good, pretty good.
That was it.
That was it. I probably won't be back. And then I'm back. Okay. I saw how you were doing the cuts. Like you weren't taking, you were breaking it apart into segments where they were appropriate. And you could see that you had a game plan going into all those interviews. And
I wanted a journey. It was a journey for us. So, and I wanted to take the audience on our journey. But yet I wanted to keep the most important people still relevant throughout the whole thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought that was great because, you get some of the story and then you get, some discussion on it and then you get some of the story and, to me, it was a home run.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hey, look who stopped in. Tom Steenberg, our good friend, Tom. And also E-Man. Welcome, E-Man, 512 Texas. And Mr. Allen is in the house too. So hi guys.
Alan.
Welcome aboard. Yeah. And that what I like about it is that there's no glossing of it, and the ending, like I say, I cannot stress how interesting the ending was. But we can't talk about that. I won't talk about that. But I'm trying to put that little tidbit out there to me as a little bone for people like going.
Are you talking about that little special extra that John told me without really? Yeah.
He's I'll make one quote. We won't give it away. Now that I'm 91, I'm going to tell you something that I haven't said before.
Right.
And I can come clean with this.
And it's not in the book.
And it's not in the book. And all of a sudden, it was like, what? my ears went.
Spit it out, John. What is it?
So,
I just looked over at the chat. Steve, look. Tack had a question. He wanted to ask Ryan.
Where's that?
Did he find out the true story on the cow?
I really didn't indulge in the cow. I skipped the cow completely.
You did.
If you haven't read The Creature, folks, you won't get that. But if you've read The Creature, you'll get it.
Yeah, that Squatch was after some centerline bovine.
Oh, Tack, that hurt me.
Picky in the forest, I guess.
Now,
I'm going to have to mute out for a second. I'll be right.
I think we just killed Chris, and he's still listening, so we can keep on going and keep on. If we keep him laughing, we'll keep him muted.
Oh, that got me. Oh, Tack, killing me. Yeah, that's good. It was a good one. Thank you. I was wondering that too, but I was too shy to ask.
So,
I didn't even want to ask about the cow. I just avoided it all completely. Like, I know it's in the book, but
yeah. Well,
let's just pretend it's not.
Kind of makes you want to swear off dairy.
I don't know.
Would you like some milk with your coffee? No, thank you.
No head cheese. No.
I don't know where to go after that.
Hold on. Head cheese isn't even cheese.
No, it's not. I might have to mute here. Holy cow.
Man.
Now, a lot of people don't know, but I remember this. Ryan Cavalline took a bunch of crap because he talked about that.
Yeah, he did.
He started talking about the creature at a conference, and he started talking about the bovine adventure. And my God, it was like, wait, how civilization has progressed over the years. It's like that. My God, if we even mentioned the cow on a TV show in 2006, that may have caused an uproar.
Yeah. But, also, I remember, I'm sorry, Ryan. I remember about that time when Lauren was doing this, his write-ups on this, he did a lot of stuff on Bigfoot sexuality, and which was stuff that I wasn't interested in. I don't think anybody else was either, to be honest. But it was a whole, that cow thing led to a whole thing of articles on Bigfoot sexuality. And that's just never been a subject that I was interested in.
I
I don't know. It's turf I just didn't want to go into.
Yeah, my face is hurting, guys. Oh.
Okay, so OT has a legit question. Did I miss the show? I didn't miss the show for the last couple of weeks. No, we were actually technical glitch, a couple of other things going on over the last few shows. And then last week we were going to have a show, and then I got horribly sick, very uncomfortable, like minutes to the show. I was like, what the heck? So that's why, OT. So, as far as
I lost my track of mind.
yeah, well, I
threw me off.
See, I have a train wreck of thought. I don't have a train of thought.
It was the cow.
That was the cow. Damn cows.
Hey, it looks like oh, Linda's like, so like, we need to know. Oh.
Yeah, I don't want to be a prom date. No, sorry.
No. So if I seem a little distracted, all of a sudden my door opened up and my dog just walked in and he just walked out. Like he's checking up and seeing what's going on.
He knew there was talk about animals and he left.
That's right. He's like, well, did I hear something about a cow?
Nothing I want to be part of. I'm out of here.
Oh.
No, OT. I'm not going to say that name this week. I just can't.
Oh.
No. This is a never mind. It's just I'm not going to mention it. Okay, so you know, I can't. I'm just trying to word some of these questions so we don't give away too much. You know, what was your what was your biggest, you think, challenge in the recreations? Was it the Bigfoot?
That's always difficult. You don't want to just go to your local Halloween shop and say, give me a Bigfoot costume because they look horrible. But yet, you know, we're on a pretty tight budget when we make these. I found a guy that did a great headpiece and he was reasonable. The rest was just getting a body, which we ended up getting like a Halloween one, but I took it to a seamstress and she kind of really worked it for me, which looked incredible. Like, pretty damn close to a Chewbacca outfit as we could get it. I mean, she did it. She did a good job. And I mean, I said, let's keep it under this number and just do the best we can. And I think it works for what we wanted to do. I wanted a sympathetic Bigfoot. I didn't want an evil, dark, anything like that. Maybe an older Bigfoot looking like he is aged and his health was bad, which was part of the book, in my opinion. So that's always frustrating because we just don't have the budget like we'd like. So we kind of do what we can and, you know, shoot for the stars and hit the moon, you know?
Well, for, you know, I thought you did a wonderful job. I mean, you captured all the elements. I mean, you know, the recreations don't have to be exact. It was kind of, and what I liked about it was kind of done like in a folksy type of way.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
the actor.
You got recreations in this thing?
Oh, yeah.
Great.
No, it's not Steve just talking for an hour and a half. No.
Okay. I thought it was going to be like an interview thing, you know, and that was it. Okay. Good.
No, there's, and that's what I meant. But he would read, there would be recreations while portions of the book were being read. And, you know, so it was cool. And,
from Jane's perspective. Like, you know.
Yep. Yeah. From the perspective
of the writer.
Yep.
No cows were damaged or abused in any recreation, of course.
No.
There was a deer that was murdered, I guess.
Oh, don't say that.
Well, and, you know, but I think we found a nice way around it by doing it like animation style, so we didn't have to really do it.
And welcome, Jerry. Jerry, good to see you, brother.
Crazy part is I had an actor already in mind to play the role and like bailed on me like probably 2 weeks before we were going to shoot all that. And I'm like, what are we going to do? So I the guy that played it, Bill Robertson, was a friend of mine from upstate. And I thought, hey, perfect. And that was his first acting role. I said, don't worry, I'll walk you through everything. and he did a fabulous job for 2 days.
Yeah.
I mean, the poor guy. I mean, it was we had rented these cabins, and I wasn't even sure we'd be able to use them because the whole
Linda,
thing going on.
Linda, that's a great question. No, this is not one of the faux news shows for Bigfoot Info. We only put on the real stuff. And tonight we're talking about Mountain Devil 2, The Search for Jan Klement, which was a book, The Creature, Personal Experiences with Bigfoot, written in 1976. If you go back to our show archives, back in October of last year, or September of last year, I believe, we did a special edition on the book. And now we're talking with the filmmaker, Ryan Cavalline of
Legend Hunter Films.
Legend Hunter Films.
There you go.
And talking about Mountain Devil 2. So this is definitely not the faux Bigfoot Information Network. Well, you got a parrot.
We were talking about the cow, and all the animals come out.
Well, yeah. Well, my dog has returned to the room, and he is now sitting in his chair, kind of sleeping, kind of nap. Oh, nope, he's leaving. Okay, we have had that. Okay, the dog has been ejected from the ballpark. Actually, Chris just mentioned that I was on America's Book of Secrets.
Yeah, it was on today too. Earlier today.
I am sorry to hear that, Tom. You might want to try the YouTube channel. You don't have to log in or anything like that. If you just go to the YouTube channel, it should be live. Works sometimes better than Facebook.
Yeah.
So, or it could be the internet connection. It's a long way from here to Canada. Linda, I believe that was September of 2019. It may have been November. I don't have that in my head.
Oh gosh, I don't know.
Let's say August, September.
Somewhere.
Yeah, I think it was September. So that would have been
a fall month was in mind.
Yes. Yeah. Well, November is a fall month.
Oh, yeah, true.
Well, thank you, Mick. Mick just wrote the only info about this show are some of the hoaxers that I expose.
What was that guy's name?
Oh, that's Mick.
Oh,
You thought it was something else, didn't you?
yes, it was.
Oh, potty mind over there.
And I'm down to drinking Coca-Cola Zero now because for some reason ski is sold out in Kentucky. I don't know what the heck. They got some kind
the
of
factory is closed due to COVID-19.
Yeah, probably. I don't know. Well, they said it was a aluminum can. There's several rumors going around of why you can't buy ski, and one of them is they had a shortage on the aluminum cans because of COVID. Well, hey, this is an aluminum can.
Yep.
It sucks too.
And Linda, if you're wondering, where this is not the show where we go out every time and see a Bigfoot or hear a Bigfoot, or this is the show where we talk to people, and if we have some field films, we'll show them out as well. And occasionally we'll show a picture of O.J. Simpson.
And the limited edition of new Bronco coming out.
Yeah.
So now my question to you is, what's your thoughts on the Bigfoot phenomenon? Now we're going off topic here.
Oh boy. I'm what you call a hopeful believer.
No,
I'm hopeful it's possible. I've had 2 or 3 experiences I can't explain, and I keep a pretty open mind about it all. When we were shooting the first Mountain Devil, we shot a lot in Rockton, Pennsylvania. There had been quite a few sightings. So Dave, Rupert, and I were down back in the woods about miles back, and we were in a clearing area, and that's the first experience I ever had where rocks were thrown at me.
Oh, cool.
So at that point, I'm like, holy cow, there's something to this.
Oh.
So, but until I see one, I don't think I'll totally believe, but I am hopeful that it's possible. And I'm open to the idea that they're out there and we just haven't found one yet.
Tack does have a question in the chat. Did doing this film lead you towards any other cryptid stories in Western PA or New York?
I'm not sure what he's asking.
Did you get any news stories?
Not really. No. Because I really kept it focused on the book as much as possible.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, when we were down in Dunbar, there's so many stories in Dunbar. Yeah. It is a hot zone. Chestnut Ridge, that whole area is such a hot zone. I mean, we could do a whole film just on Chestnut, just all the sightings and stuff. But every time someone want to tell me, hey, there's a sighting, I'm like, nah, don't care. I'm doing it on the book. Sorry. And which I should be open to the idea of other sightings, but it was the fact that I wanted to stay on point of what we were doing.
Yeah.
But visit Dunbar. It's a lot of stuff going on down there.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm down there at that area every time there's a Pennsylvania Bigfoot camping adventure.
Uh-huh.
And literally, it was kind of funny because Clement's Point,
not too far.
Was not too far from there.
Oh.
And it was kind of funny because how I triangulated that position was talking with an entomologist who lives in the area that Dave Dragosin actually directed me to.
Mm-hmm.
So within a day, I got a phone call back from the guy, and we had a long discussion. And, I said, well, this is where he said he took his friend. And so I have it, he said he had to drive by the diggings. And, he specifically said public lands 51.
That's interesting. Very interesting.
And that's in the book. And I'm going, he took him to public 51 and he had to drive by the diggings. So I'm sitting there and he left from, what's the town? Uniontown.
Uniontown, yeah.
So now I'm sitting there plotting it out. I said, well, it's got to be in this geographical. So I get this guy on the horn. Now, this entomologist has a very intricate, what the heck, you guys?
I saw that too, Steve.
No. You missed the entire joke, Linda. It's a joke based on that. So it's not protecting anybody. It's a joke. So
it had to do with the new Broncos coming out, Linda.
And I'm not associating you with a
No.
No, that guy should be in jail.
Yeah,
he should
Linda,
still be in jail.
You got here a little bit late, Linda.
You caught the earlier one. They joke about the Bronco because they're coming out with a new Bronco. So just rewind it. You'll see it. I think you'll get a kick out of it.
Yeah, I was glancing through the chat room and I was just like, oh, what? No, we're not those guys, Linda. We're not
those guys. Nope. My actual background is a private investigator who's worked with law enforcement for 30 plus years. So don't worry about me trying to protect that turd from what he did. And I've watched the entire trial back then, but that's neither here nor there. Where was I? We were talking about. Anybody remember? Chat room, please. Huh?
Jan Klement.
Yeah, thanks, Bennett. Okay, yes, I was talking about my phone call with the entomologist. So, yeah, it's got me a little perturbed. Why anybody would think that off of just that is. Anyway, so I ended up talking after triangulating this position with this gentleman, and he said, well, that's right in the area of a place called Clement's Point. And then I'm like, Clement's Point? Yeah, there's an area called Clement's Point. So he kind of told me where to find it. I was on the phone with him moving Google Maps, and that's when we got this.
Interesting.
No. I posted the OJ post. I live in Florida. Yeah. Wow. So we got somebody accusing me of posting the OJ post. Where did I post that? What are you talking about? This show is about Bigfoot. If you're going to keep on talking about OJ, you can hit the road. But anyway, so anyway, we have this, and that's what Clement's point was.
Mm-hmm.
So it was actually based on the corner of this. And what I find interesting is, of course, we know the shed had the cabin had burned down, and there it is. And we have a pond. So it was very interesting. And the funny thing is, he always said the Diggins had a private road and all that stuff, and there was private roads all over the place. Now I actually have a map with the actual we actually have the map with the street markers on it, but I'm not going to put on it. But the interesting thing is that there was the comment in the later editions books that nearby there was some new housing built.
Mm-hmm.
Also very consistent with this picture in the area. Actually, to the bottom right corner, if you go out a little bit more, there's a whole bunch of new houses that were built over the last 20 years, 30 years. So it all matches up. And Ryan, if you ever want to get down there, let me know. I'll go down.
Whenever's clever, we'll go down.
Because I have the actual map of what roads connect to this.
So the little square there is the burnt cabin remains.
Right here.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's a burnt cabin. In fact, you can even see where the chimney was.
Yeah. Mm.
And you see it. Mm-hmm. And it looks like it may have had a porch at one time right in that area. So
if it's true, that's great, but whoever did the research did a hell of a great job.
Well, you know,
to put it all together like that, you know.
Yeah. So, you know, I look at this whole thing. You know, could it be real? Because the points definitely sure this does look, and it was very promising. Like, oh my God, there's a cabin, there's a pond. Makes a lot of sense. It's burnt out cabin. It's built
right
near new housing. Everything matches up. Now, is it possible? And see, this is where it gets a little dicey. They started building those houses, and I believe Tomical left that area in the mid-'80s. Mm-hmm. Because he knew about the fire. He knew about the new housing, obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, so to me, you know, whoever owns this property, and I could never find who owns this particular property because it doesn't have a street address because there's no house on it. There's no house on it anymore. It's just property. But it'd be really interesting to find out who owns that property. That may actually be Jan Klement. But I still believe that parts of Jan Klement at least are John Tomical. And that's the way I'll leave it at that.
Still a mystery.
I mean, yeah. Is it possible that John knew the area? Absolutely. Was he an outdoorsman? Well, he was an earth science guy, so he probably spent a fair amount of time in the woods. You know,
I don't know. I have a book he wrote about survival techniques if you're lost in the woods.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
So I don't think it was highly published, but I'm like, the writing's very similar.
I just, I'm not entirely sure.
I might have to find this on Google Earth now and search for places that look like they may have been disturbed for a burial site.
Okay, so he didn't bury him on this property, Chris.
Oh, he didn't? Oh, that's right. That's right. He put him in the car or something and took him
took him for a ride.
Yeah.
Took the body for a ride.
I'm not thinking it's been too long. It is a cool pond, though. I wonder if they got any fish in there.
I'm trying to get the other picture. There it is. So, And yes, I am giving away a street name with this one, but so this is the area. This whole area is the area I think that if a burial had occurred, that it was there in that area.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, there's a lot of relations to Wimp's Gap, the state line, and its proximity to a particular park. And using that, and it's kind of funny because I had found old satellite photos of the area, and the interesting thing is everything that was done. I'm just scrolling here trying to find if I can find the satellite.
And that's right where he said he could see West Virginia.
Right. Now, the funny thing is, this is the area, if I'm correct, that should be Wimp's Gap, 1962. Not the topo map, but he said that there was a pull-off in there, which you don't see on any of the new maps. But if you look at the old map, you start seeing the pull-off. And that's definitely something there. If not there, it could have been entirely up in this area. So, who knows? Very interesting to speculate. And one thing, the Wimp's Gap is kind of, it's like one of those where you may be able to kind of figure it out. But this is like dead on. We've got a pinpoint on this. And it's the only thing in the area that actually, meets that criteria.
But before you go out looking for it, just watch the film first. It might save you some time.
Yeah, very true. Very true.
Not trying to give away anything, but it'd save you hours of running around the woods for no reason.
That's right. But if anything, this site is definitely worth looking at. I just can't get over it.
Well, it's always best when you're writing about something, unless you're going to do a complete work of fiction. Well, even if you are doing fiction, you got to throw some truth in there. Mm-hmm. And this guy knew this place, and so he put that in it, where whoever it was. And that made it that much better.
And like I said, Tomical was known for writing other books, including fiction.
Yeah.
And strangely, they all had some very similar elements that the creature did. So that's why I kind of lean towards that the actual writer of the book was Tomical. Now, to understand that, or understand, to counter that, watch. I would say that watching Tomical speak about it is very interesting. Kind of made me have scratching my head for a while. So,
well, he was definitely a storyteller. So, but also Stan Gordon made a lot of great points. Is that all the phenomena that was going on down Dunbar or Chestnut Ridge at the time? They were in the newspaper right and left, those articles. Right. So it could have been easily to extract some of that and. Story.
That was the other thing too, and I made mention of that, in the cold case episode was that he obviously, whoever wrote this book did their Bigfoot research because they named a witness by name, right, and location and what she had seen, and they named Stan Gordon specifically. So, and obviously at that point in time, Stan Gordon was the media guy. There's a Bigfoot sighting. Okay, they all rushed out to interview Stan.
Yeah.
UFO sighting, Stan. So,
well, I asked Stan about it. I thought, what do you think about it? Your name's in this book, blah blah blah. He's like, I'm so busy investigating, I didn't have time to look into it.
Yeah. You're like, really? Right. I was. My God. Yeah,
which was true at that time. It was an ongoing sites constantly.
Well. To make, and this all goes back to investigation 101. You have a cold case here, in this particular case, But that's because we had no clues.
Here's Clifford the Big Red Dog season 1. episode
No,
1.
no, what the heck?
Oh, thank you, Charlie. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Hang on a sec.
No, Stan didn't write the book. He swore up and down it wasn't him, which I don't think it was him, because I've read Stan's books and it's completely. If you read The Creature, it's two different types of writing.
Yep. I apologize. I had a little technical difficulty. My Alexa decided to play Clifford all of a sudden. The Men in Black.
I like to go to people's houses that have those and say, Alexa, set alarm for 3 a.m.
Yeah. No. Now, come on. You did a show called The Exorcism. You did a documentary called The Exorcism Prayer. You set it for 3:15.
That film almost killed me. So yeah, I don't mess around with that stuff anymore. Like literally almost killed me. Like, yeah.
Well, so Pat Turner asks, are you in production for anything now, Ryan?
Yes, I have 2 films going right now. We have one called Myth and Mutants, which is based on Pennsylvania folklore stories.
Not Kentucky folklore stories?
I haven't made it to Kentucky yet. I still wander around Pennsylvania quite a bit since I live here. It's just convenient.
Chris just took that one as a glancing blow.
And I'm doing one about the afterlife, which people that had near-death experiences, but we haven't really dived too far in that yet. So, yeah, we're always filming something until the wheels fall off.
That's what you got to do.
Or I get senile and don't know any better.
Where was I going with investigation? A lot of times, in the 70s, we didn't have the technology we have today to get these answers really quick. That's number one. Number two is that there are just some cases that you need to let play out over time. And eventually the truth starts to leak out, whether it's true, whether it's not. We still have a mystery here, but we have a lot more answers than we did, just in the last couple of years, I think, than we had 20 years ago. Agree or disagree? I mean,
I agree. I just think, I guess maybe John says it best. I'm 91 years old. Might as well talk about it a bit.
Yeah.
And have some fun. With it, really is. Yeah. And I think that was very gracious of him.
Yeah. 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 Well, exactly. And when you get to that, age, what
the hell do I have to lose?
It's right. Yeah, exactly. That was really, and it was like a stunner. It was like, really? But he still leaves it with a big question mark.
He did. He wouldn't admit. Just it was all on his terms, which is fine. Well, it's his publishing and it's his baby, I guess. So I just think it was best to, when I talked to him, I said, "There's a whole generation of Bigfooters that don't even know about this book." And I think bringing it back around, you're going to get a whole new generation of people looking into this, which I think books like this, you don't want them to fall away.
Yep, exactly. So, Chris, you want to take over a quick second? I got to run do something.
Yeah, man. I think that anybody needs, if you hadn't read The Creature by Jan Klement, you need to pick up a copy because it is good. And I don't know if it's still available on Amazon or not. Do you know, Ryan?
Yes, it is. It's still available on Amazon for a mere $9.99, I think.
Well,
you can actually get the book and the movie off our website. You can get a combo pack, which I'm not even sure what we're selling them at. But our website is the www.legendhunterfilms.com. You can get the film there, and you can get like I said, the bundle pack with the book and the movie. So
that'd be the way to go.
Trying to save you some time and headache of looking around on the internet.
And Alan Edward Gaines says in the 1970s. I can't put your comment up on here, so I have to read it, Alan. But it's in the 1970s. We had 8 tracks, rotary dial telephones, and libraries. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it used to be a whole lot more difficult to find out stuff in the 70s. And I remember when I was a kid, I sent off for a book from the Yakima Bait Company because at that time I was really into fishing, man. And I had to send off for their catalog. You had to, I can't remember, I think it was like 50 cents or something like that. And you had to send them a SAISI, self-addressed stamped envelope, and 50 cents. And then they would like mail you this catalog. So, and it was in Yakima, Washington. And here I was just a kid, man. And I sent all this stuff off, man, and put the money in the envelope, you know.
Oh, no.
It was like, 6 weeks later, I finally got a little bait catalog in the little envelope that I sent them. And it was just printed off, but I was so overjoyed. Now, man, you just hop on the website and look at a catalog, click, instantly. It's really amazing.
Chris, that wasn't the first time. The first time Chris sent away for something, it was for a decoder ring. That way you can listen to the radio and get the code for the night.
That's right.
Remember, eat your Ovaltine.
Yeah. But, man, I use those SAISIs. Yeah, Alan, you're right. SAISI, self-addressed stamped envelope. You had to send that, man, or they couldn't send it back to you because postage was probably, I don't know,
3
11
cents, 5 cents.
It wasn't much, but you had to send it, though.
And the
But
50 cents.
It was a different time. Yeah, it was a different time. Sure
They were
was.
probably making a killing on that, too.
Probably. Yeah, all I got was a little bait catalog that had been printed. Of course, they didn't have a printer back then. So evidently they had to use like this,
the
machine,
ditto machine. Yeah.
whatever, where you roll it and it
Mimeograph.
spits out. Yeah. You can get high smelling the ink while you're doing that. They used to have
Good
them
times.
at school.
Good times.
And that's what it was. It was like little blue ink and stuff. It was cool.
Good Lord, Bennett.
Now postage is an arm and a leg.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I remember the overnight rates used to be, and they like jumped like $8. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Like, holy.
Yeah.
But yeah, so.
That's a good question, Tack. What got you interested in cryptids?
Well, I have a slew, a library of films I've shot over the years, starting back like in 1999, and I did a lot of horror movies over the years just because that's the cheapest and easiest way, and most distribution companies will pick those up pretty quick. I got tired of doing them, and I got to a point where I'm like, let's do a monster movie. I'm like, let's do Bigfoot, and at the time, I always thought Bigfoot was just a West Coast thing. I never knew Bigfoot was in my own backyard. So I sent about a lot of emails to all the Bigfoot groups in Pennsylvania, like, oh my goodness, Bigfoot's in Pennsylvania. And I had the first email that came back was from a buddy. He's now a good friend of mine. And he said, hey, Bigfoot's in your own backyard, referring to Rockton, Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
So that really got me on board because they kind of introduced me to the world of Bigfoot. It was Denny Kaliski and his wife. And I remember it was like in April, and he's like, I'm going to come up, show you around to where all the sightings were up in your area. And it was April for some reason, and we had like this blizzard in April. And he comes up.
Never fails.
He comes up in a Ford Bronco.
Ford Bronco. Ford Bronco.
He's like,
hang on, Ford Bronco.
This is the first time I met the guy. But it wasn't OJ. It wasn't.
Steve, so don't be that guy.
I'm being that guy.
So he comes in. He's like, well, get in and I'll show you. I'm like, oh, boy. And if you ever met Denny, he looks like an old rock star from back in the day, just like a roadie. And I'm like, we're going to die out in the middle of the woods here. But he introduced me to like all the groups and all the people, and I met like Stan and everyone through Denny. So I mean, I was just so into it then. I was hooked. I was a Bigfoot fanatic, and I still am to this day. like I said, I'm a hopeful believer. I'm not completely convinced until I see one, but that's kind of how the whole filming kind of started, was just kind of stumbling upon it more than anything. Now look at all the Bigfoot films in the last 10 years. I mean, I don't want to say I was an innovator, but I was probably one of the first ones that kind of did it way back in 2010. Was the first one was Mountain Devil, and now there's a whole slew of them. But
so which started you on Mountain Devil? Mountain Devil, for those who haven't seen Mountain Devil, The Search for Frank Peterson, that was a very interesting film as well.
Back when at the time I was just filming the groups and going around with them for like a year, just filming them, like kind of like a Bigfoot 101. This is what researchers do. And I felt it was great stuff, but there was no story in there. Like we've talked about, I like to have something, there's gotta be substance to it. And at the time, Dave Rupert and I came across this story in Phillipsburg, Pennsylvania about these two hunters that were at a cabin, claimed they seen one, claimed they shot one, claimed they buried one. The family didn't want to be a part of anything, so we had to use aliases through everything. But their story was just so compelling. I'm like, did this really happen? And we kind of did the research the best we could to find out where the cabin was, and it was gone and everything. It's kind of similar to what the creature story kind of was. But it was just such a great story that we kind of ran with it because we couldn't do the creature at that time.
Yeah,
so
and the ending of that one was quite interesting as well.
Yeah.
But for those who haven't seen that one, that's another one where you're waiting to, you hear about it, and finally end, you get to see all of it.
I've had so many people ask me, did you really think that's what it was at the end? I'm still on the fence on it. I don't know. Yeah. I still think that could have been a very manged bear.
Yep.
See,
as a filmmaker,
even as a filmmaker, I don't believe everything. I'm like, I question it,
And you know what? That's what I love about the whole thing.
Yeah.
Is that you just tell it like the story is being told to you. A lot of times people would, when we have witnesses on the show, or we have witnesses on the radio show back way, when we were on Blog Talk, people used to say, well, I don't believe their story, or there's two different seats you have to take. Mm-hmm. People understand when I'm in this chair. Yes, I like to put out all the investigative stuff like that. If I have somebody that's a witness that talks to me and okay, you have a story to tell, here's the story. Mm-hmm. I always prerequisite, I haven't investigated this, but they have a story to tell. Let them tell their story. There's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
As long as you put the caveat in there, hey, or you stay on the fence about it. What's there, not to believe in a simple story. If it's a complex story, then, hey, you know what? Then we may have to dig in. And then sometimes I don't have them on. Justin Smeha was one of those people. Mm-hmm. We had Justin on, and you have to, okay, we're going to take, and actually his driver was on the show as well. Which was the first time anybody had heard from him. So you kind of had to take it at face value at that particular point in time, because none of the DNA testing had been done or anything like that. And at the end of the night, you sit back and let me play it back and let me listen to it. Did I miss something? Did I catch something? Did I, mm-hmm. And then as he did more interviews, you see a little bit a difference, a little bit of, so to me, it looked like a bit of work in progress for a bit. So, but then you get to a person like Tomical, who's had all these years to keep a story straight, if he's ever asked.
Did a good job.
And the fact is, you have to understand that, I understand, the PG film, mm-hmm. and Bob Gimlin's accounting. And he's had a long time to think about it too, to keep it straight. But the fact is that his story never differed from day one versus day, 569, whatever, how many times he's told the story. Which is quite impressive. John Tomical, other than just cursory tidbits over the air, I really, Ryan, you are the first person that got him to sit down for an interview.
Yeah.
That I know of.
Yeah.
I don't see, I know we had some correspondence with Lauren Coleman, or maybe a phone call, I believe. It was a phone call.
Yeah. Which I was surprised I got Lauren to take part in the documentary.
Yeah,
too.
that
I
and
didn't think he
long-
wanted to really, which I'm grateful. I'm completely grateful.
Yeah.
But I thought at that point he didn't want to do anything about that. But he was very open about it and talked about
Yeah,
it.
well, as everybody that's in as Pat, you might want to watch the $1 million Bigfoot bounty. Story changed a little bit there. Changed a lot.
Yeah,
So,
especially about the little one. You know, it went from he shot it to he choked it out.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Next thing you know, he's going to be, you know,
Well, I don't want to speculate on.
flipping it or
But there's so much to that story, and to me, it's kind of a big deflection. Well, hey, I just got the manuscript and I wrote the book. I published the book. Allegate. To me, there would have to be, obviously, I don't know. It's very very sordid thing. Did he pay him under the table? See, I would have had so many different questions that it probably would have got to kick me out. But did you pay Mr. Klement under the table, or did he actually receive royalties for the book? Stuff like
he really wouldn't go into Klement too much. He really wouldn't. Like, I'd ask about what's his personality, but he had, according to John, he had already passed away, so it wasn't really much to talk about. But I'm like, well, where was he from? Did he have family? He just wouldn't indulge in any of it. Just is what it is. Here it is.
And that's the interesting thing, because if he passed away, what's the harm?
The family didn't want the family to.
But the family, he had sold the property and he divorced, and he didn't have any kids, did he?
He made a promise and he kept his promise. So,
yeah,
I guess that's keeping loose lip, or your lips shut for all these years, and just keeping your promise, I guess. But it's like I tell everyone, I'm a storyteller first, a filmmaker second, and a researcher third. So when anyone comes to me with a story, I take it for what it is. It's a story until you can prove facts on it. It's just how it is.
Yep.
So when you got to present it in a film format, well, these are the facts. This is what the story was. I mean,
and
whether or not it happened or not, I don't know.
And what I love about it is that you also put my facts in there too.
Yeah.
That to me is a documentary. By doing that, by putting the story in it and some of the facts that I found out and some of the facts anybody else has found out, that kind of makes it a documentary. You know what I'm saying? That's why you didn't fail. I think you did, but you really didn't, because you put the facts in. To put some reasonable doubt.
I was more disappointed we didn't have more solid facts by the end. You know what I mean? Yeah. Everything was like, it could go. It was on the fence. Everything was on the fence.
I knew going into it, the only solid fact we would ever get is a confession.
And we didn't get it.
No, and I wouldn't expect one. That's why I never really progressed to talk to Topical at that point, because we're not. After all these years, we're not going to get a confession.
No, and I had him for a couple of days of filming, and nope.
Well, you had a
little bit. He teased a little, but not enough to say it was him, I guess.
Right. Yep. But yeah, so I think that that's not a failure, brother. That's not a failure at all. The Mountain Devil one, I mean, that necessarily wasn't per se an investigative documentary. That was just basically a recounting, and I thought that was kind of cool. I mean, this one is much more, like I said, you got a lot more researchers on the ground talking about the topic of that particular book and about what they thought about it and about facts surrounding it and stuff like that. That is, being a documentarian. So take that pat on the back.
We do our best. Thank you. We do what we can.
Don't knock yourself. I'm saying.
Oh, I know.
No. Because I hear you say, well, I really think we did a great job telling the story, but a documentary, no, you did a great job.
Well, I appreciate it. I really do.
That's the one thing I wanted to put out there. So let's talk about. I want to get off topic just a little bit, but I know you got kind of weirded out by the whole exorcism thing.
Oh,
And-
it was bad.
and I don't like to pop off on the paranormal topic. These are totally two different topics. So let me just predicate that for the audience out there, that for folks who don't know, I do run a paranormal group. I am a demonologist, and these are completely two different topics. And I don't think there's anything paranormal, or I should say supernatural, about Sasquatch. Everything is paranormal. It's outside the normal, but it's not supernatural. So,
so you're not on the fence of the interdimensional Bigfoot? That's
on the fence? No.
Neither am I.
I've been blessed. I've seen them a couple of times, and no, there's nothing interdimensional about them. They were there, they walked off. That was it. Done. Okay, they didn't blink
That's
out.
what everyone kept saying. You should do Mount Devil 3 on interdimensional. I'm like, nah. Let's keep the aliens there and the Bigfoot here.
Well, and kudos to Bill Lancaster, who did the whole UFO alien connection. I'm like, oh, come on now.
Tomatoes,
Well,
hey, whatever.
Those people that report seeing
You say
Bigfoot-
potato, I say diabetes.
That's right.
Back to that meme.
The people that report seeing Bigfoot and watching it disappear into a portal, I don't know. I don't believe that, but they could be telling the truth. But until I see it, I'm sorry. I can't accept that.
We've discussed that before, though. And
Yeah.
we've discussed that there's so many other psychological factors that they could have actually believed they saw that. Because of the trauma they're going through, or possibly infrasound and stuff like that. So there is some just because they have a paranormal experience doesn't necessarily mean they didn't have an experience.
Right.
And that's the way I look at it. If they're from UFOs, I've never seen we didn't send men to the moon naked, did we? No. When you think about biological elements and stuff like that, that's just fact. That even if we had a planet that, say, was consisted the same as our planet, it's oxygen rich, you can breathe without breathing apparatus and all that stuff. The stuff that we'd still have to wear containment suits. Why? Because of the bacteria on that planet we may not have resistance to.
Yep.
So that whole theory of, it's no.
Yeah. Dude, it's just like War of the Worlds. It works both ways.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. H.G. Wells, man. What a genius writer he was. A man way ahead of his time to think of something like that.
Yeah.
But it's the truth. It's the truth. I mean, so anyway, getting back to this whole thing. So did you get any? You must have seen some interesting things doing the.
Well, it was funny how the project even happened. A long time ago, I always said it'd be great to do a documentary on exorcisms, just like the stories, the prayer, and all that good stuff. And it kind of stumbled onto a priest that had done it. So we kind of traveled through Pennsylvania interviewing these priests that have done exorcisms. Like most of them only did like a handful of them. It's not like a big exorcisms aren't done on a regular basis. No. Let's just say that. And the more we dove into it, like every priest that we talked to kept saying, just be very careful what you're doing. It's great what you're doing it. It's great that you're doing this film, but be very, very careful. So I'm like, all right, cool. So the more we did the film, the more just bad luck, I guess, just weird things kept happening. Everything from stuff at my house, problems with the film. Like that was the worst film I've ever had to do from point A to point B to get it done. And at one point I got real sick and was life flighted over a tick bite.
Oh, wow. Yep.
My buddy Dave lost a finger that year. His wife Carrie got real sick with other health issues. And just the phenomena going on here at my house, like knockings on the walls. The cat my cat's laid back, but she was hissing and biting me over just weird stuff that things that were outside were not outside. Like she was seeing stuff. It just ongoing. And the more I had talked to a few of the demonologists that took part in it, and a few of them sent me medals, blessed medals, said put these over your doors and windows. But it just seemed like every step of the way, it was just something blocking us from doing the film. Even doing interviews with some of the priests, the audio would cut out. Batteries would drain very fast. Like I went through 5 batteries in one about 5-minute time frame with the one priest. They just kept draining until he was done with the story, and then they were fine. It would just seem like every step of the way there was a problem.
Well, I've always lived by a couple of rules with that whole thing. Is we don't film them.
Right.
Rarely do we film them. We don't audio them.
No.
I have been in, and for folks who don't know, I have been doing the paranormal stuff now since 2010. So I've been at this for 10 years, and after 3 years, I decided to start dealing with demonology because in 2011, this group I had belonged to dealt with our first, we believe was a demonic type of house. And there was stuff going on. I'll just leave it at that. But the freakiest thing, and you could see how they can portray, because you're using something called a ghost box. I'm sure you've seen those.
Mm-hmm.
And we were communicating with something, and then all of a sudden this other voice came in. And it's, at first they called us all freaks. Freaks. Like, what the hell is that?
I'm a super freak. Get it right.
That's right. So then the next thing, it said goodbye. And then we couldn't get that ghost box to say anything, for the next 10 minutes. So I pick up the recorder, what you're supposed to do, look at it. Okay, we're recording. Tag the recorder, and recorder tagging. In case you're out there doing Bigfoot audio, you tag the recorder beginning and end. You say this is such and such date, this is such and such location, and the time now is so and so. Well, you do that at the end. Okay, it's now blah blah blah, and the time is now blah blah blah, ending the audio. And that's what I did. Shut it off. I go back and I listen to this audio, and it stopped recording after it said goodbye. But yet it was still recording. The rest of it was just blank. How it did that, I have no idea. But they do have this incredible effect on electronics, as you well know.
Well, I couldn't even get the film done, like to render out in the computer. Like it was the worst problem. Finally, when I had to break it up into pieces to get it done. And once I got it up to my associate Paul Gorman, and I said, it's locked down. We are done. The film is locked and done. All the weird stuff stopped. Like everything stopped. It was just the weirdest. Like something got off your shoulders. It was just the weirdest feeling. Like this heaviness was gone. Like, damn it, we tried.
So we got a bunch of questions and comments. First of all, Charlie Wonton said the Chinese developed Bigfoot in the Wuhan labs.
That's good.
That's really good. OTS digital recorder. Yeah, audio recorder, that is. Mm-hmm. And then we have serious question. Do you guys compare vocal audio you get during expedition to known species using no, actually not now. When the audio that I had gotten previously was before some of these wildlife identification programs were available. But I am very excited to, in some of my downtime, I'm going to start taking some of our old audio and putting it through that process. But I remember one audio I got in 2011 is when me and 2 other researchers decided to walk off and leave just a recorder going into the camp. And you slowly hear this little leaf litter movement. And then over the recorder, you just hear, and then you hear leaf litter. That's it, done. Pretty freaking creepy.
That is creepy.
Well, the other thing too is, maybe it was a bear. Bears don't growl. So if you're in the woods and you hear something going, It's not a bear. It's not a bear. The bears don't growl. They grunt. They huff. They lip smack, especially when they're scared. They start, they'll start with their jaw. But yeah.
That's
Bears
freaky.
scare me.
Oh, so yeah, okay. Yes. Saw an episode the other day. I was talking about an exorcism. Sorry. Yeah. Actually, I was. For those who haven't seen, I was just on the recent episode of Paranormal Survivor, where they actually had the woman and her husband who were having issues. I was actually the exorcist to kind of deliver their house. So, and I am an ordained minister too. A lot of people don't know that. So, but yeah, very, very interesting topic. Someday we'll get to chat on that stuff, Ryan, off a Bigfoot program. And, if you're still having issues, let me know. I can give you a few pointers. But
it's just crazy how I said today we're done. It's locked, and it all stopped. It's just, I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah, it's quite interesting.
Yeah.
And people ask me too why I became an exorcist, why I got into demonology. I don't like bullies, and
that's what they are. They're bullies.
They're bullies. Exactly.
How can I interrupt your life?
Yeah. And I don't like bullies, and I belong to a group that didn't know how to deal with that, so I broke away eventually and formed my own group, and went forward and not backing down from stuff like that. And if I can't do it, I'll find somebody that can. And it's simple as that. So yeah, a very, very interesting topic for another program. Perhaps someday we'll have to do like just a paranormal program, which Chris hates.
Well, yeah, I'm sorry, but I'm skeptical.
Well, you wouldn't be skeptical if you've seen what we've seen happen. We happened.
I understand.
Because what Ryan says is completely correct. If you get involved in some of these things, all of a sudden, why am I having all this bad luck? Why is health failing? Why are things breaking down? I don't know if you've ever watched the Demon House by Zach Bagans. And didn't you see some parallels there that what you were dealing with? And a lot of people said, "Oh, that wasn't very exciting." And, it was, but that's real. That's the way things happen. You don't have the head spinning and the pea vomit. The split pea soup vomit.
Well, other things though I watched like on the what was this show? Paranormal something.
Charlie Wanten says he hears Goosebumps Paranormal Society is a great group. I don't know. We have Charlie. You might want to get in touch with Jimmy Trick. He's him and his wife Diane are the heads of that group. Want to get hold of them.
Right. But I was watching the show. It's Paranormal Witness. I think that's what it was. And they showed this guy had a film, and he's like in a motel somewhere, and the phone comes off the hook or something, and they make such a big deal out of it. And I'm like, dude, I could do that with a piece of fishing line. Come on.
Oh yeah. There is. Ooh. Yeah, and there is a lot of like films and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I've seen it. I've actually seen stuff like that happen. I remember one of the neatest places I go to, and it's not demonic, and so that's kind of that makes the night kind of fun.
Yeah,
it's the Shanley Hotel in Napanoch, New York, and it used to be a home of a brothel and an old time saloon, and
good times.
Yeah, good times. And they actually videoed. A lot of groups had cameras in there and stuff over the years, and they actually got a cat. Like a shadow of a ghost image of a cat, which was kind of interesting. And okay,
this is setting up so many jokes. I'm reframing.
Yeah, I know. I understand. Brothel cat. I get it. Yeah, but I remember doing a session in one of the rooms, and the chair in the room behind us, we could hear it slide across the floor. We're like, holy, can you do that again? Did it again. So after that, we got really quiet. And after, a couple hours or more, another group was coming in. We were telling them about what had happened in the room to the left of us where the chair had moved. And the ladder in the room to the right of us moved. While we're telling them, we all some here over in that room. What the hell was going on here? But the one cool thing is we the next night we took groups through for a tour, and kind of that's how we pay back something, or you do these fundraisers for the places to keep them going. And I remember I had slept in the one particular bedroom. And it's supposedly one of the haunted bedrooms. Of course, I slept good that night and nothing happened. And I take the group up there, and, of course, I got like 5 or 6 people with me. And I'm all, okay, buddy, sit down. Just be quiet for a minute. Okay, if anybody's with us, can you show a sign that you're here with us? And right on cue, the bathroom door opened. Could actually hear a doorknob turn. And the door opened. That's very impressive. Can you close it? Door closed. Nothing the rest of the night, but everybody was standing there with their mouth like wide open, like, what did we just say? So I was the hit of the night because I actually got to open the door and close it in front of everybody. And all the windows were closed and sealed up. So it was like I had slept in that bedroom and nothing happened that night before. Like, at least none that I noticed. I mean, the bathroom door could have opened and closed 1,000 times, but it was like, so I've seen that. I've seen, chairs move a little bit. I've heard disembodied voices. Chris, I was in Rolling Hills Sanitarium, and that's not too far from Pennsylvania. Mm-mm. And if you ever get a chance to go, it's a fun place. Remember going in the basement of that particular area, and I'm setting up my digital recorder, and I hear I was like, well, and you play back the recording, and maybe someday I'll play it on the show. But as I'm putting the recorder down, I hear this little girl go, Dan. And I'm like, wait. And there's other people talking, but there you could hear them in the recording. You can hear it's definitely like a echoed. And so I go over. Did somebody just say Dan? Because I just heard a little girl say Dan. And when I stopped, all of a sudden you hear on the mic, Dan. Like, I'm like, oh. And that's true. One of the people, Hinsdale House, New York. You've heard of that place.
Yeah.
Tack actually has been there a few times with me. And it's true. He seems, I go up there because I'm a demonologist, and there's some things that are not too friendly out there. And it's always an issue with me. If there's something bad, they tend to disappear real quick when I show up. And that's just the way it is. That's why like if anybody watched Paranormal Survivor I was in, I actually stayed outside with the family while the team went in and did their investigation, because I knew if I went in, everything would be quiet. And literally, the amazing thing is that the folks inside the house heard this tremendous boom on the ceiling. The funny thing is I was with the husband and wife outside the building, and the husband's really kind of like, I don't know about all this. We all heard it too on the outside of the house. Boom. We thought it sounded like a tree hit the house. So the husband and me immediately started going over his house. What the hell hit the house? Nothing. And you want to talk about bad luck. I didn't use my car that evening. Come back, and as we're driving back, there was a tremendous windstorm, and a tree fell on my car. So you have those. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
It's very relevant. All of it is very relevant. You always have this. It's just too much bad luck in a lot of cases to be coincidence. It's the same thing with the Sasquatch mystery. It's just too much coincidence that people have been seeing the same damn thing, same habits, same methodology for the last 200 years.
Agree.
So there's got to be something to it. Why haven't we found? Well, number one, all the infighting, and now social media has just made it worse. Better for some, worse for others.
I just don't think people realize how large the forest is.
It's
Especially
huge.
down by us, the Allegheny National Forest is huge. There's, I'm sure, animals in there that have never seen a human and never will. Yep. They're just so deep in there.
Look at the Adirondacks.
Huge.
Gosh. You go some of those higher peak mountains like in Essex County, Essex County, Jefferson County, those areas where it's just rolling hills and nothing. Mm-hmm. Like literally there's, I used to take trips out doing investigations to like places like Watertown or some of the northern, like right on the Canadian border type of things. And to get to like Watertown, because it's northwest of me, I have to literally drive around the Adirondacks because there's no roads through it.
Yeah.
You have to drive around this whole mountain range for miles. It turns if it was a straight line shot, I'd get there in 2.5, 3 hours. No, it turns it into a 4.5, 5 hour drive because I have to drive around the Dax. So, great place though, because you do find dirt roads that do go through the middle of them, but they just take forever to go up and down and traverse, and hardly anybody goes there. And it's amazing the wildlife you do see when you're on there. Bald eagles and moose and all kinds of neat thing. So anyway, see the video of a Revolutionary War reenactor, red coat and all three of them were hiding around the woodland. Sometimes it's hard to make out even a guy with a red coat on. I don't know.
I haven't seen that, no. But I believe it,
Was that in Gettysburg? Or where did this occur?
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. Well, Revolutionary War wouldn't be in Gettysburg.
You're correct. It wouldn't, no.
But the only, the funny thing is Yorktown actually is the only place where there was a Revolutionary War battle and a Civil War battle fought.
Vermont.
That must be Hubbardton. Because that's the only place a Rev War battle took place in Vermont was in Hubbardton. And that's funny you mentioned that, OT, because Hubbardton is just a couple of miles down the road from where the Vermont trail cam photo was.
Yeah, it's easy to hide. I mean, in Kentucky, the reason I usually don't go out to the woods in the summertime because of, the ticks and the snakes. But besides that, I mean, something could be 15 feet away from me in the forest, and all I would have to do is just squat down, and it's gone. I can't see it.
Yeah.
Because so much undergrowth and stuff and small bushes, trees, you just can't see it.
Yeah, I mean, as far as the whole portal, the portal thing, let's, I've always said this: deer cross the road. You take a look to the left, it's gone. You can't see it. It's gone. But so anyway, Ryan, so you got the new a couple of new films on the way. What's your takeaway for the folks that want to watch Mountain Devil 2? What?
Enjoy it. Just enjoy the story. Enjoy the adventure. I guess through the 75 minutes. It's just, I think a lot of people just enjoy the story, which was had been sitting around in a book for years. So just enjoy it. Like any other film we do, I try our best just to entertain you, and that's my job, really.
Yep. And it definitely was entertaining. I mean, that the story, the article, the pieces from the book you drew from were wonderful. Sans the cow.
Besides the cow.
Just awesome. And
thank you.
I don't know. Well, we left off all the private parts too, which is
yeah. Don't want to go into details.
Yeah, because if you do read the book, there is a particular paragraph or two on the. Was there a drawing?
There was a drawing in one of the editions.
I don't have it in my edition. I have the 3rd printing. You have the 4th printing.
I know there's a drawing because in Lauren's article, there's a picture of it.
I think it was the second
it must have been. Yeah. Yeah, there's a,
So I just have the little old 3rd edition.
I actually have a 1st edition that's signed by John.
Oh, very nice.
So I will hold on to that as long as possible.
Yeah, that's a keepsake, man.
Yeah.
That goes into a case and goes on the takes a centerpiece in the prize collection.
That's right.
Wow. So, well, folks, I think we got enough show in for tonight, don't you think, Mr. Chris?
Oh yeah, I think everything's been said that we need to say for this week until everybody sees the documentary. Yeah.
But I know Chris has been working on a project and he's pretty pooped.
I'm tired. Yeah.
So thanks, Chris, for hanging in as long as I wanted to kind of, give you a little bit of a break there towards the end, and we'll get us off all cool. And then Ryan, if you want to stick around after the credits end, we can still converse via this way after the show.
That's fine. Yeah.
So, but anyway, folks, next week we're still working on our guest. Hopefully I'll hear from him sometime this week. Great job, boys. Wonton out.
Thank you, Charlie.
And OT, thank you, sir. Yeah, whatever I had was very brief. Lasted a few hours and was gone. Never came back. So, but anyway, so next week we still have the mystery guest going to the couch. A week after that, on August 30th, we're going to have Haskell v. Hart. Ryan, where can people find your videos?
If they would like a DVD, a physical copy, they can get that from our website, which is www.legendhunterfilms.com. If you want to rent it or download it, you can grab that on Amazon or Vimeo. And if you want updates on what we're doing or keep in the loop of things, just join Legend Hunter Films on Facebook, and you can see all our adventures.
And as always, thanks for coming on, Ryan.
Thank you very much for having me. It was a
my
pleasure.
honor to have you, though.
No, thank you. I appreciate it.
No, thank you.
No, thank you.
All right, Mr.
That's
Bennett.
fun.
Say your spill.
I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight, especially you, Ryan. Appreciate it, buddy.
Thank
and
you,
all our great listeners we have, and all the action you guys had in the chat. Thank you. We appreciate it. We'll see you next time.
That's right. Okay, folks, we'll catch you all next week. On behalf of all of us here, God bless. Have a great week. Stay healthy, and most of all, keep on squatching.
Folks, you've been watching Squatch-D TV. Join us Sunday night at 9 p.m. Eastern for the latest on the Bigfoot mystery. As always, we thank you for being our loyal viewers and encourage all to subscribe to our YouTube page at youtube.com/Steve Kulls. As always, have a great week. Stay safe. God bless. And keep on squatching.